One of my favorite events every year is called Canstruction. It's a really unique event, and it has a wonderful beneficiary. That's St. Mary's Food Bank. And so for the next few minutes, we're going to talk about Canstruction, let you know what that is, and then how it benefits St. Mary's Food Bank, and also how you can see these wonderful structures that are literally made out of cans, hence the term Canstruction. So we welcome to Valley Views the co-chairs of this year's event, Sarah Clegg and Dana Verrier. Nice to have you with us. Also with us from St. Mary's Food Bank is Jerry Brown, who is no stranger to Valley Views. We're always happy to have you here, Jerry. So let's start off with you, Sarah. Now, Sarah, you've done this before.
I have. I'm getting to be an old pro at it.
Okay, so you were the co-chair last year, and here you are again. So let's kind of let people know what the Canstruction is. Give them the overview there.
Canstruction is an event that we do at the Phoenix Convention Center every year, and all of the cans go to St. Mary's. So what it is it's anybody that's in the AEC industry. That's architects, engineers, construction. They bring teams together and they build these elaborate, huge structures. They can be 10 foot by 10 foot. And they are up for 2 weeks to view at the convention center. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, all of those cans get donated to St. Mary's.
It's amazing.
And I believe last year there was close to 50,000. Yeah, 50,000 cans. So it's quite a large donation. It helps a lot of people in the summer. So.
And now, are you in one of those firms, or are you?
I am not. Well, I have to oversee everything.
No, but so. I mean, there's what's the name of the organization that kind of organizes
SMPS.
Everything? Okay.
So that's the Society for Marketing Professionals.
Okay.
But it's all of us who do marketing for those architects, engineers, contractors.
So it's really a combined effort of a lot of different people and a lot of different types of people.
Yes.
But that does give you the ideas when we're talking about architects and engineers and construction firms that are putting together these structures. You start to realize that these are going to be well done and pretty amazing, imaginative things. Maybe you can just give a couple of examples of some of your favorite structures.
I think last year there was a UFO. That was high up in the air, so it was just on a little support platform, and then you had this UFO that looked like it was just floating. So you had a lot of good structural engineers in on that. A lot of times people just choose to do kind of what's popular. I know Muhammad Ali was popular last year, so there was a couple really nice structures with that.
The Lorax was one of my favorites.
Yes, that was a great one. We don't know. This year, we're just starting to get some of the drawings in and some of the sketches. So every year, this is an exciting time just to kind of see how people's brains are turning and what they're thinking of doing.
Speaking of mentioning the brain, the brain is involved in an interesting way in this. I always go and take pictures of the structures, and your brain doesn't always interpret the structure immediately, and then you look at the camera and go, "Whoa, that's!"
I always highly recommend people take their smartphone and take a picture of the structure, and then they will actually see a lot of different images that are coming out of the structure. A lot of people do some 3D things, and people get really creative with the labels of the cans and what you can see with that. So I just think everyone should come down and see it because it's really cool.
Well, as you mentioned the label, so now we want to kind of draw a little picture of one of the things that's popular is to put up like a wall of cans, and then by using the labels, spell out words or maybe a picture, as you said. For example, the Muhammad Ali was just made a photo of Muhammad Ali on a wall of cans just by using different colored labels. So you had a whole bunch of cans that were, say, blue, and then you had some that were lighter or whatever that you could use that to shape the things. One of my favorites a few years ago, and this was one I literally did not see at all, and I was looking at it and I go, I just don't get it at all, until I finally looked at it in the camera, and it was a light rail train coming out of a backdrop of the city. The city was a whole wall behind it and was like, the skyline of the city, and there was a train right in the center of it coming toward you. And I just didn't see it at all. And then I looked at the camera and said, oh, my goodness, there's a train coming out of the city.
Yeah.
So it's really a fun thing to do. And and we're going to tell you how to do that. So, well, let's get the new gal in here, Dana. This is your first year as a co-chair. Have you been involved with the construction before?
I was involved with the team a few years back, and unfortunately I was called out of town on the day of the big build. So this is my first year as a committee member for this, and also attending Canstruction.
Are you going to be building or just overseeing?
I'm an overseer.
Okay.
But my company is actually part of one of the build teams. So
okay.
I've made it a point not to look at their drawings yet, so I don't give them
what company is that? We can give them credit.
Oh, I work with Dibble Engineering, a engineering consulting firm out of North Phoenix.
Okay. So again, that gives you the idea of the quality when we have engineering firms and consulting engineers and architects and construction companies working on these things. Now we need to let people know that part of this, and this is part of the philanthropic part of this, is that the various teams not only do all this work and design, and the design goes on for quite a while, doesn't it?
Yes, they've been designing since April, May-ish already.
Yeah.
And they have as many as 5 or 6 teams coming together, 5 or 6 companies come together to make a single team in some cases.
Yeah.
And some of the teams are a single company.
So they're designing things with computers and, and architectural knowledge and so on and so forth. But in addition to that, what I was mentioning about the philanthropic part of this is that the teams then go out and buy all this food. They have to raise money to buy the food.
Yes, I know that our team in particular did a raffle as a fundraiser where we all bought tickets to a raffle, won some items, but that funded like $3,000 or $4,000 worth of cans.
Yeah, so it is significant because when if your structure has 500 cans of tuna in it, which I've seen, that's not cheap, and it's really appreciated. Well, let's move on then and talk to Jerry Brown a little bit about that exact thing. Jerry, I know this is a significant event for St. Mary's Food Bank every year.
Yeah, we get to enjoy it twice, Marty. We get to enjoy it the first time when we get to see the fantastic sculptures. And when they're the constructions, and when they say 10 by 10, they're meaning 10 feet by 10 feet. And that's 10 feet wide, 10 feet deep, 10 feet high. So these are really massive structures in some cases. Some of them go more for the petite type of really, really intricate type of, and some of them are really massive castle-sized. And we get to enjoy that part. We get to see them. And then we get to enjoy the fact that they bring all the food to St. Mary's, and a lot of them use the most needed items. So we get a lot of beans, we get a lot of tuna, we get peanut butter, we get all the things that we really need to help fill our emergency food boxes. A lot of those teams are very cognizant of what it is that they use, knowing that that's something that the food bank needs most.
And I think we said that it was around 50,000 cans. It's kind of in that neighborhood every year, right?
Absolutely, and that makes it one of the largest food donations that we receive all during the year. The letter carriers drive brings in about 300,000 pounds, and that's our largest. But when you talk about 50 or 60,000 pounds, that ranks in the top 5 or 6 single donations that we receive all during the year. So it's a really welcome time. And since they've moved the event to August, it comes at a time of the year where our food boxes are really hurting. This is the time of the year. We know during the summer, so many people leave. Our donations go down. The need goes up. We're distributing more food than we are at any other time of the year. So a 60 or 50,000 pound donation of cans from one event really makes a big difference.
And of course, you mentioned, of course, that they are cognizant of what they're doing. And in the judging, one of the categories, I think there's more than one category that involves doing exactly that. Like there's a category called best meal or something like that.
Best use of the items, and they do a fantastic job putting these things together. It's a half an hour with your kids to go through these and see how cool they are. And as they mentioned, it's maybe the most popular movie of the year or the most popular animated character of that year that winds up being the subject of a lot of these too. So it's a fantastic way, and it's all air conditioned in the middle of August. You're always looking for something cool to do while it's air conditioned, but it's a fun half hour, 45 minutes walking through and looking at these different structures and seeing what they look like to the naked eye, as you said, what they look like in a camera, 2 totally different things. So you put those things together and you have a really cool event.
Well, Dana, let me have you step back to the microphone here and remind people about where this takes place and how they can get a chance to see all these structures.
Sure. The admission is free, and it's being held at the West Building of the Phoenix Convention Center downtown. And it runs from Sunday, the 30th of July through August 11th, which is a Friday.
Okay. So that's the west building of the convention center would be like across the street from the Hyatt, more or less, or right next to Symphony Hall.
Right
Yeah.
down in that area.
And I tend to say that because you kind of want to go in. You want to make sure you go in the door by Symphony Hall because sometimes the other door is locked on the north end.
Right.
But it's free, and you can go in the air conditioning in August.
It is, and it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of people coming through, and I understand that we get news coverage. We get a lot of different folks through there, so it could be really exciting for families to come.
You definitely want to bring your camera, as we've said, because not only will you want to save these pictures and show them to other families and share them on Facebook and so on and so forth, but the camera literally makes some of those designs just pop out for you. You look in the camera and go, there's something about the way a camera looks at things and the way we look at things. The camera makes things more two-dimensional, I think, and then all of a sudden you can see it like it's drawn on paper, whereas your eye is seeing the 3D thing, and maybe you don't catch it right at first.
Well, it's open to the public on the 29th too. On the 28th is the Canstruction Day, where they only have a certain time limit where they have to put these things together. It's 5, 6, 7 hours, and the amount of activity that's going on with these 12 or 13 teams that are building all of these constructions is just amazing. They have to have it mapped out, and they've done pre-builds to make sure that they can do it within the amount of time that they're given to put these constructions together. So it's really organized chaos on Saturday morning.
Okay.
Well, and for folks that want to see past years, you can also go to our Facebook page at Phoenix Canstruction and see lots of the photos from the previous years.
Okay. I was just checking here to the date. Actually, the date is the 29th.
The 29th is
The
our build
29th
day.
is the build day. That's the
29th
Saturday.
is the build day.
Which is
I'm
Saturday.
sorry. That Saturday is
The Saturday, the 29th, is the actual build
right.
day.
That Saturday is the crazy day. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
so you can watch. You can literally go down if you like, and you can watch the structures go from a cardboard base and a pile of cans and become something fantastic right there in front of your eyes.
As long as you stay out of the way.
Yes,
Because you never know what's coming.
Yeah, don't reach over and touch anything.
That's right.
Okay, so where can we find out more about this and maybe see the pictures online, etc.?
You can go to Phoenix Canstruction on Facebook, and we have a Gmail address if you need to reach us for more information about it at phxcanstruction@gmail.com.
Okay, there we go. Well, thank you all so much for joining us, and thanks for the hard work. And I know that, as we've said, St. Mary's appreciates it, and it's really nice to have this little boost for people that need extra help during the time of year when it's really needed. And thanks for joining us on Valley Views.
Thank you.